Hey guys, welcome to the final part of the Prambanan Ramayana. What you're about to see in this episode is a unique set of carvings never seen in any other temple. Even if you know Ramayana well, you're going to be surprised. Here, we can see Rama and Sita sitting on the throne as the king and queen. And Rama is giving a gold coin to a poor layman, a commoner, but he refuses to take the gold coin from Rama. Why? Look at this guy. He is looking away and is folding his hands and not taking the gift from Rama. Rama is very surprised by this. He is curious why this poor guy is not taking his money. And Sita is amused by this. She is shown with a broad smile and she thinks it is a joke. But the joke is on Sita because there is a wild rumor being spread about Sita, the queen. What is the rumor? Sita is impure because she was held by Ravana for many months. According to the story, there was an ordinary person whose wife had gone out and tried to return home after a few days. And the man did not allow her back into the house. When the neighbors tried to reason with him, the man asked, "Am I a fool like Rama to accept an impure woman?" This incident had become a grapevine which was widely circulated, and Rama and Sita were ridiculed behind their back. Look at the facial expressions of these people. This guy is laughing even though he has just received a big present from Rama. The other guy is eyeing him as though he's asking him why he accepted the gift from a fool. And these two guys have a slight twisted smile, an expression of ridicule and unhappiness towards Rama and Sita. Here, Sita wants to go to the forest for a day trip, and Rama has sent his brother Lakshmana to accompany her. As you can see, Sita is quite happy as she is enjoying the flora and the fauna of the forest. Lakshmana, however, seems to have an uncomfortable smile. Maybe because he has to twist his body and talk to Sita. The chariot is shown with great details. You can see an elevated seat for the passenger, and everything is well decorated. Look at the wheels. These rims can compete with modern-day fancy rims of cars. We can see two horses pulling the chariot. A thick, lush, tropical forest is shown both behind and in front of them. If you look carefully, you may be able to see the birds and animals hidden inside. Look at the jewelry of Sita. She's wearing all kinds of gold jewels all over her because she is the queen. You can also see fabulous ornaments on Lakshmana as well. You see, this is how rich people enjoy life. They go on vacations and picnics, right? Here, we can see Sita and her brother-in-law, Lakshmana, chatting happily in the forest, right? No, this is the carving where everything changes. Lakshmana is telling Sita that she is going to be left in the forest by herself. Yes, Rama has told Lakshmana to take Sita to the jungle and abandon her there. But why? Why would the queen of the kingdom be taken into the woods and be deserted there? Remember what happened in the first scene. The citizens of the kingdom, the common people, had been ridiculing Rama and Sita and had spread the rumor that Sita is impure. Eventually, the public voice reached Rama, and Rama is forced to choose between his kingdom and his wife. Rama wants to renounce his kingdom and be with his wife, but his brothers force him to stay on the throne. So, he has decided to abandon Sita. If they had told Sita about this in the palace, it would have become too dramatic. So they cleverly took her to the forest without telling her that she is getting abandoned. Here, Sita is genuinely happy because she thinks it is a day trip to the woods and she will return to the palace. But Lakshmana knows it is a one-way trip for her. That is why he looks awkward here. Now, in Prambanan Ramayana, it is shown as though Sita is being left in a cabin in the woods. You can see a pipe with flowing water here, indicating they're not out in the open. You can see a chair on which Sita is sitting, and you can also see a pillar behind. This means Sita was being left in a house in the jungle. But you can also see trees, birds, and animals carved around them, implying that this is a cabin in the woods. But this abandonment is twice as brutal. Why? Look at Sita's belly. What is that? Yes, she is pregnant. So they're abandoning a pregnant woman in the middle of the woods. This is unthinkable. Now, why is Lakshmana doing this? Rama could have taken Sita and dropped her off and said goodbye. Or a simple chariot driver would have been enough to leave her here and take off. But why did Lakshmana do this? Is Lakshmana taking revenge on Sita? Wait, what? Why would Lakshmana take revenge on his own sister-in-law? This is a ridiculous theory, right? No, the Prambanan Ramayana has a very twisted subplot. It shows the friction between Sita and Lakshmana. At the very first meeting between Rama, Lakshmana, and Sita, Lakshmana lifted the bow. This is not mentioned in the original Ramayana, but in Prambanan Ramayana, Lakshmana is shown lifting the bow. What is wrong in lifting a bow? No, according to the text, whoever lifts the bow is eligible to marry Sita, and only Rama lifts the bow and then marries her. But in this carving, such an element has been added. This would have raised some suspicion in Sita's mind. Is Lakshmana interested in her? Why else is Lakshmana lifting the bow? But this is a one-time incident. It could be a sculpting mistake, right? No, this friction reappears in this scene. Rama has been lured by the magic deer and Sita hears Rama crying for help. Sita wants Lakshmana to go and save Rama, but Lakshmana refuses to leave her side as he wants to protect her. And what does Sita do? Sita accuses Lakshmana that he likes her and he wants to take her as his wife. This is why he's not going to save Rama, because he wants Rama to die so he can marry Sita. Imagine being accused like this. Who wouldn't get an emotional scar with this kind of an accusation? Is this why Lakshmana is dropping her off in the jungle? Is it a payback, a revenge for her previous actions? Now, the sun has fallen and darkness has risen. Sita has come out of her cabin and has wandered in the forest, and now she is lost. Sita, the queen of a large empire, is now alone, pregnant, and lost in the forest. But why did she wander out of her cabin? She could have stayed inside, right? No, she is hungry. Look how her right hand is on her tummy. She is pregnant and hungry, and she is searching for food. Instead, she is going to become food. There are two lions ready to pounce on her, one behind her and one in front of her. This is a crazy story, right? A few hours ago, you were the queen surrounded by servants. You could snap a finger and be given a full course meal. But just a few hours later, you're all alone, scavenging for food and surrounded by lions, facing a life or death situation. Look at Sita's face. Intriguingly, Sita's face does not show fear. Instead, it shows no emotion at all, a sign of extreme physical and mental exhaustion. She is ready to give up. She has nothing left in her. Will the lions eat her? Behind her, you can see two intertwined snakes doing the mating dance, an ancient symbol with a deep meaning. In front of her, you can see a deer turning its head and looking at her. The deer must be wondering why the lions are not pouncing on her. This could be bad news for the deer. And you can also see a peacock. At the far right, you can see a snake, a crow, and some smaller birds as well. Will Sita survive the night? Or will her story get finished with this? In the next carving, we can see Sita alive. She has somehow reached a saint's ashram or hermitage in the jungle. Sita is shown in a weird position, and in front of her, there is a saint who is visibly happy to see her. Who is he? He is Valmiki. That's right. He is Valmiki, the author of Ramayana. This is confusing, right? He is the author of the story, and he makes a special appearance as himself in the story. Now, remember Valmiki's Ramayana ended with the coronation of Rama and Sita. It ended with the previous episode on my channel. It has a very happy ending. These carvings you see in this episode are not a part of Valmiki's original Ramayana. Many centuries later, this part called Uttarakanda was added by an author who still remains a mystery. But since it was written by someone else, he has added Valmiki as an active participant in this story. Otherwise, it would be weird to talk about yourself, Valmiki claiming that he himself saved Sita, although this is common in social media these days, right? So, Sita is now kneeling before Saint Valmiki, who's happy to receive her and he can keep her safe. But this is illogical, right? She was lost in the jungle in the middle of the night, ready to be eaten by lions. How did she magically escape and safely reach Valmiki's ashram? The savior is shown on top. He is the one who saved Sita and brought her to the safe place. A big fat boy lying on a tree branch. Who is he? He is Lord Hanuman, the monkey god. But look carefully, he doesn't look like a monkey. His face and his body looks human, right? Yeah, Hanuman disguises himself as a boy and was following Sita when she left the palace. Sita does not know she's Hanuman. She thinks, even Valmiki thinks he's some kid who's just helping them. You can disguise your appearance, but your old habits die hard. He is still on the tree while the real humans are on the ground. But there's one more clue. Ancient sculptors knew their future generations would not understand this, so they carved him holding his own tail. Yes, even though he is shown as a boy, a human, a tail is still carved to explicitly tell us that he is Hanuman. But believe it or not, most experts on Prambanan temple have completely missed this detail and did not know that this is Hanuman. But why is Sita in this position? Why is she on all fours, almost begging for something from the saint? What does she want? Valmiki knows she is Sita, the queen of Ayodhya, but she does not want him to reveal her identity to anyone. If the other people in the ashram realize she is Sita and she was abandoned by Rama, it would bring great shame to the king and the kingdom. So she asks for a favor from Valmiki. She asks that he calls her by a different name, and he then gives her a new name, Lakshmi. So you can see how complicated the situation has become. Valmiki's identity is revealed as a saint. Valmiki, the author of Ramayana, has become a character in this extended Ramayana and plays himself. Hanuman is hiding his identity from both these humans. He is pretending to be a human. Sita wants to hide her identity and will now pretend to be a commoner and not the queen of Ayodhya. This is a fantastic extension of the Ramayana, and we can decode all this information from this one seemingly simple carving. Here's another strange carving which does not fit into the traditional Ramayana. Again, a remarkable deviation. Why? Sita is holding a baby. She has delivered a beautiful baby and has wrapped the baby in a cloth. What's wrong with this picture, right? No, there are supposed to be two babies. Even though this is all in addition to the original Ramayana, even in the addendum, it is mentioned that Sita had twin baby boys, not one child. Sita is not in the middle of the delivery, and she is even dressed up with ornaments and everything. So the other baby is not coming. So according to the Prambanan Ramayana, Sita only gave birth to one baby. This is why I say that the Prambanan Ramayana must be recognized as a different version of the Ramayana. Now, what do I mean by that? There are many different versions of the Ramayana. Nearly every Indian state has its own version of the Ramayana in its own language. Even better, many countries outside India also have their own versions of Ramayana. For example, the Thailand version is called Ramakian, and there are 3 different versions of Ramayana in Indonesia. In Bali, they have Rama Kavacha. In the island of Sumatra, they have Ramayana Swarnadvipa. And in Java Island, which is where the Prambanan temple is, they already have Kakawin Ramayana. This may be surprising to you that this country, which is 2,500 miles away from India, has 3 different versions of Ramayana. But did you know Indonesia is made of more than 17,000 islands? So I fully believe there are more versions of Ramayana hidden in Indonesia, and Prambanan Ramayana should be registered as a separate version of Ramayana. Okay, so according to the Prambanan Ramayana, Sita has delivered only one child. The baby seems to be sleeping peacefully without knowing that he is the prince of a large empire. Who's this woman kneeling down in front of Sita? She is another woman who lives in the ashram. She appears to be throwing flowers on Sita and the baby to bless them. Behind her, you can see another woman who also lives in Valmiki's ashram. She appears to be holding something in her hands, probably some herbs to make Sita feel better. But how does Sita feel? What is Sita thinking about? Look on top, you can see 2 birds looking at each other. And on the right, you can see 2 deer sitting close to each other. Sita is definitely thinking about her husband Rama. This is the hidden meaning of this carving. In front of the baby, there is a bowl full of water, warm water, and a towel is placed inside. This is used even today during delivery and immediately after delivery. At the bottom, there is a strange UFO-shaped device. What is that? It is a container that holds vermilion, the red powder. How do I know this? Look at the baby's forehead. As soon as the baby is born, the mother has put a dot on the baby's forehead. So, A new king, a potential king for Rama's empire, is born in a poor ashram in a deep jungle. And Rama, the father of the baby, does not even know that he has become a dad now. Valmiki was outside when the baby was born, and now he has returned to the ashram. And the festivities have begun. They're celebrating the arrival of the newborn baby. Here, we can see Sita holding a large basket. Inside the basket is the baby, and there is a helper around her holding a flower, fondly admiring the baby and its cute little reactions. Women are always spellbound by newborn infants. On the right, you can see how men react. You can see two saints hugging each other. They're joyful that they have a new arrival in the ashram as well as into the world. 3 women are shown sitting at the bottom, happily talking to Valmiki. Look at the last woman. She's all smiles. And now they want to know how this baby will shine in the future. They're pestering Valmiki. What do they want? They want him to create the baby's birth chart using astrology. They want to find his zodiac sign, his lunar mansion or nakshatra and everything using his birth date and time. And they want Valmiki to predict if he will become rich and famous one day. After all, he is a poor baby of a single mother born in an ashram in a remote jungle, right? Should Valmiki tell them that he is already rich? He is the only prince of a great kingdom? Valmiki is laughing at the irony of life. He knows who the baby is, yet he has to read the chart sitting on the bookstand in front of him. Yes, this is the holder to hold an open book, and he's going to, quote-unquote, predict the future of the baby. But is Valmiki a human being? Why do I ask this? Look at his left hand. There's something very strange about him. It appears as though he does not have any bones, and look at how long his fingers are. And look at his toes. They don't look human either. Is this a clue telling us Valmiki was not a human being? Was he a divine being? Or was this carving altered? Did they recreate some of the details after the temple was renovated? On the left, a happy, relaxed atmosphere is shown. On the roof, there are a few birds hanging around. You can see Hanuman, again disguised as a baby boy lying on a bed. But look at his head. It is elevated and shown facing Sita. He is always watching Sita and her baby. Underneath the bed, there is a mouse searching the ashram for some food. Below them is a squirrel or a chipmunk shown casually scratching its head. Believe it or not, this little detail is quite extraordinary. Here's a picture of a squirrel scratching its head. Look at the details. It is using its hind leg for scratching, and its bristly tail is standing up, curved at the top. Look at how the ancient builders had carved the exact same features. Such a great detail to show the happy, lazy, idyllic life in the forest. Thank God the baby was born here and not in the busy, pompous palace of Ayodhya. Here you can see a few years have passed and the baby has started walking. He's a boy and he's happily carrying mangoes and walking behind his mother. Sita is shown holding a basket collecting the fallen fruits from trees. The queen has now adapted to the lifestyle of a forest dweller. And Valmiki is shown sitting in a crossed-legged position, but something is wrong. Valmiki seems quite serious. His eyes are closed. His face is turned as though he is focusing on something. One hand is placed on his lap, and look at the other hand. He is shown offering something to the fire in front of him. What's going on? Believe it or not, this is a very important carving. There is an interesting story told by the people of Java Island. According to the story, Sita requests Valmiki to take care of the child and steps out of the ashram. Valmiki agrees to take care of the child. Sita knows Valmiki can go into meditation and will forget about the child. So she comes back after 10 minutes to check if he is monitoring her son. And sure enough, she finds Valmiki in deep meditation, not caring about the child. So without disturbing the saint, Sita decides to take her son along with her. When Valmiki woke up from his deep meditation, he looks around only to find that the child is gone. He is ashamed that he has failed the simple task of monitoring the child and searches the ashram. He realizes that the boy is lost. But he does not want to break Sita's heart, so he takes a blade of grass and using a magic spell, he creates another boy who looks exactly like the original. He cloned him so no one could find the difference. And when Sita returns with her son, what happens? They're shocked because now they're stuck with two identical twin brothers. Again, this is not how it is detailed in Uttarakhanda, but Indonesians believe this. You can see Valmiki holding a blade of grass in one hand and chanting mantras seriously to replicate the quote-unquote lost boy, while Sita and her child were happily gathering fruits in the forest. In fact, this story is also popular in India, and some argue this is why the two kids were named Lava and Kusha. According to this theory, the original son was Lava, and then Saint Valmiki created another identical boy. But when Sita came back, they realized that they had to give a new name to the second boy. So Valmiki named him Kusha after the grass he used to recreate him. Kusha actually means a specific type of grass. It has a nice tongue-twisting biological name, but it is still commonly known as Kusha grass. See the title on Wikipedia. But wait, this story does not make sense. What was Hanuman doing? He was supposed to secretly watch over Sita and her son. How did he let this happen? The carving tells us what happened. There is a tail coming out of the tree. Yes, it is Hanuman, and he is still watching over Sita and the boy. See how the tail is carved exactly between Sita and the boy. It is not a regular monkey's tail. The sculptor has shown the regular monkeys nearby. Look at the size of their tails and look at the size of this tail. This is Hanuman, and he's staying with the mom and child, but he did not know that Valmiki would make such a move. This carving has been a mystery for many, and it shows some strange details. I will explain this in an exclusive members-only video, and we can take a deep dive into who these figures are and what they're doing. If you're interested, please join by clicking the link below, and you can watch all my deep dive videos. Now, are Lava and Kusha full-time warriors? No. Are they going to become priests or saints? No. Lava and Kusha have chosen a unique profession. They're going to perform a dance drama. They go from town to town and they sing and dance and tell people a great story. What story are they reenacting? Ramayana. Yes, they're performing Ramayana, the story of Rama and Sita, until they became the king and queen of Ayodhya. This is what is shown here. You can see three men dancing on the right, but Lava and Kusha are just two. So who's the third one? He is Hanuman disguised as a human. If you look carefully, you can see this figure with an elongated mouth and his fangs coming out. So Lava and Kusha perform an amazing reenactment of Ramayana. You can see them dancing again in the middle too. And on the left, you can see two spectators visibly touched by their performance. The woman on the far left is putting one hand on her heart, a sign that she is crying. The man next to her is shown with his hand palm up as though he's appreciating how good this Ramayana is. Wherever Lava and Kusha perform, people swear that they've never seen such an amazing reenactment of Ramayana. But why are they able to do such an amazing job? Because their mother Sita told them the inside story, her intimate details with Rama that nobody knows about. See, Sita experienced all the emotions firsthand, and when she told the story to her kids, she was always crying and it became an emotional story. Valmiki is the author of Ramayana, so he gave them elaborate details and backstories. Hanuman knew details that no one knew. His experience of traveling in Lanka alone, he must have also given them the inside scoop. So when they reenacted the Ramayana with all these intricate details, people were just blown away. The plot is so interesting. Lava and Kusha think they're reenacting the story perfectly, but they also think Rama and Sita are living happily in the palace of Ayodhya. They do not know what happened after the coronation. Even worse, they do not know their mother is Sita. She never revealed her identity to them. And they think their mother's name is Lakshmi. Even worse, they do not know that they are the sons of Rama, the hero of the story. But their dance drama was so good that their fame eventually reached Rama, who invited them to the palace to watch the Ramayana played by these young men. Having been invited to perform in Rama's palace, Lava and Kusha go from their ashram in the forest towards the city. As they try to enter the city of Ayodhya, they are stopped by security guards, the gatekeepers of the city. Their depiction is quite interesting. On the left is a scary figure who looks demonic and is holding a long sword. He is keeping a hand on his head and telling these jungle boys to go back to the forest. In the middle is another figure, a security guard who looks more human, and he is also wielding a curved sword at them, telling them not to come into the city. Next to them is a stout little guy, a strange dwarf-like figure with wavy hair and a mustache. He is shown with two closed fists as though he's going to punch the brothers. An interesting visualization exclusive to Prambanan Ramayana. Imagine what would have happened if these three guys knew who they really were. If they knew Lava and Kusha were the sons of the king, what would they have done? They would have been very respectful and the young men would have been given a royal treatment. So, were Lava and Kusha allowed to see Rama, or did they go back to the jungle? The next carving gives us the answer. Here you can see Rama on the right, seated majestically and appreciating the boys for doing such a great performance. He has extended his right arm with the palm facing up, a sign of appreciation and amazement. On the left, you can see Lava and Kusha in sitting position, glad that they finally met the king and the real hero of their play. Rama is also surprised to see Valmiki, who's shown sitting behind Kusha. We can clearly see a bearded figure even though it has been defaced. Rama identifies sage Valmiki, but remember, he does not know that Sita ended up in Valmiki's ashram. Rama also does not know that these two boys are his own sons. And Lava and Kusha also do not know that they're talking to their own father. They're just happy to perform in this amazing palace in front of the greatest, most righteous king Rama, who is also their hero. Whoever wrote this piece is giving us a psychological twist. Think about it. Who is your very first hero? Your dad, right? When you were a kid, you thought your dad was a superhero. He could do anything and he was always right. Remember this? But what about Lava and Kusha? They don't have a father. They did not grow up with a father, so they had to think of Rama as their father figure, as their hero, who was always righteous. But Rama is their father though. You see, this is very complicated. Now, Rama, pleased with such a great performance, asks Lava and Kusha if they wish for anything. And being the king of an empire, he can grant them anything they wish for. And what do Lava and Kusha want? They want to see Sita. All their life, they had heard of the great love story between Rama and Sita, how Sita sacrificed her luxuries and accompanied her husband during the exile, how she stayed in Lanka by herself, hoping Rama would get her back. These two young men are happy to see Rama, but they wish to see Sita, the better half. And Rama had to tell them that he has abandoned Sita. The boys are devastated. Between Lava and Kusha, you can also see Lord Hanuman still in disguise. Valmiki and Hanuman finally reveal all the secrets. They tell Rama and the boys how they're connected. Rama is shocked when he realizes that he is talking to his own sons. Lava and Kusha are overjoyed that they've finally found their father, but they're also devastated that their mother, the queen of Ayodhya, was left to languish in the forest. Behind them, you can see a citizen, a commoner of the kingdom, crying. The same people who voted Sita out, the same people who wanted Rama to get rid of Sita, now want her back as the queen of Ayodhya. Rama, who hears about the life of Sita in the forest, is very sad and he wants to see her and make her the queen once again. Here we can see Rama sitting on the right, and in the middle we can see Valmiki. Behind Valmiki we can see Sita. Sita's body language is quite unique here. She is hiding behind the saint like a child hiding behind the mother when a stranger comes to the house. This is unexpected. You would have expected Rama and Sita to hug each other because they've met after a long time. Remember, I told you how Rama and Sita fell in love. This was love at first sight. Ancient texts talk about Sita and Rama as a lotus and a bee. They were always shown tightly held together. But what happened now? Why is Sita behaving this way? Because Sita does not trust Rama anymore. Rama abandoned her and Sita has lost hope. She was only holding on to her life for the sake of her kids. And now the sons have met their father. But look at the incentive. Sita can become the queen and live in a palace. She can get all the luxuries. She is much older now, the mother of two fully grown boys. She needs a comfortable life. Look at how there are two large boxes behind Rama, a sign of extreme wealth. These boxes would have been filled with gold. She can also be with her husband, who she fell in love with at first sight. Rama is ashamed for having let down such an amazing wife. Sita could have gone back to her father, who is also the king of another kingdom. She could have lived there comfortably. Instead, she remained anonymous. She never spoke ill of Rama. She was a great mother who raised the kids well and sacrificed her life for the kids. So what will Sita do? Will she adjust and get back with Rama? Or will she go back to the jungle? What happens next? The carvings of Prambanan do not show this, but according to Uttarakhanda, Sita calls upon her real mother, who is Mother Earth, now popularly known as Gaia. According to the story, a huge earthquake happens. Mother Earth opens up and creates a large fissure, and Sita descends into it. Rama and the boys are devastated. Valmiki and Hanuman feel extremely sorrowful. The sculptors of Prambanan Ramayana were very kind-hearted people, and they made sure they never showed women suffering. Their conscience probably did not allow them to carve such injustices. They did not carve Sita descending into earth. This is understandable because ancient Indonesians would have been devout Hindus who probably worshipped Sita as a god. But remember, they also did not carve Lakshmana, cutting the nose of Shurpanakha. So you see how gentle these sculptors were. They did not want to show these women in poor light. In the end, we realize that Sinta's life is a tragedy. In Indonesia, they still perform Ramayana on stage. This is quite popular. Indonesians refer to it as Shinta Obong, meaning Sita burning. In this drama, Sita is considered the main character, not Rama. And locals still use the name of Shinta when they talk about the difficulties of a woman. Your looks, your money, your fame, your family, your political power, they do not guarantee your happiness. In fact, these so-called advantages may be inversely proportional to your happiness. See, Sita had everything, right? She was beautiful, she was a princess, she was famous, and she had all the money in the world. Yet, she suffered all her life and had a miserable end as well. In the next carving, we can see Rama in a cross-legged position, sitting with his right hand raised up. He's probably throwing rice or flowers into fire, a ritual where they transfer ownership of something to someone else. What is Rama giving up? His throne, his kingdom. On the left, you can see his two sons. Look at what's on top of their heads. Yes, they are crowns. Finally, Lava and Kusha are becoming kings. Rama, having lost his wife, has no interest in living his life further. He wants to give up his throne and decides to split his kingdom into two and gives it to his two sons. We can see a saint overseeing this process. This is only the ritual of transfer, but the actual coronation of Lava and Kusha will happen next. This is a very sad ending for Rama too, right? Remember when we discussed the death of Rama's father, how did he die? He died heartbroken because he could not give the throne to Rama because his wife made him give it to someone else. He had to choose his wife over his son. So Rama's father died very unhappy. Rama would have observed this carefully and perhaps calculated that his father had an unhappy death because he married multiple wives. This was not a very righteous way to live with multiple wives. Hence, he suffered. This would have appeared like a logical conclusion for Rama. So Rama carefully avoided marrying anyone else. Remember, Rama was married only to Sinta, and even though he abandoned her and many years have passed, Rama never remarried. In fact, many times his relatives forced him to marry another woman and he refused. Remember, back then, everybody had multiple wives. Even Ravana had multiple wives. But Rama lived a very righteous life. He did not see anyone other than Sita. But in the end, is he happy? No. Why? Because if you're born on earth, you must suffer. The only way to end suffering is to accept that suffering is a part of life. And this must not only be understood intellectually, it must also be experienced emotionally. And then suffering ceases. According to Uttarakhanda, Rama descends into a river called Sarayu and ends his earthly life. This carving, the last carving of Prambanan Ramayana, has confused and upset all experts and writers. This final carving makes absolutely no sense. Some Western writers have explained the carving as though it is a happy ending where all the saints of the kingdom are celebrating the coronation of Lava and Kusha. But this carving not only remains unexplained, but it's also extremely controversial. Why? Because the carving clearly shows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 saints sitting on the right side and 4 monks sitting on the left side. But look in the middle. What is that? That's right, jars and jars of wine. This is shocking, right? Would saints and monks drink wine? It is well known that these saints who lived during ancient times never consumed alcohol. This is a blasphemy, right? They're shaming Hinduism. Now, it gets even worse. Now, what are these saints eating? Let's zoom in here. Is that fish? Yeah, they're eating fish. Right next to it, you can see a plate of this delicacy. What is that? It's shrimp. Below that, you can see chicken drumsticks, and you can even see a boiled egg along with that. Look at the rightmost dish. It's a little bit disfigured, but those are crabs. Hindu priests and saints do not eat meat. They don't even eat eggs. This is prohibited, and they're total vegetarians. So it is unthinkable that they carved these saints and monks eating all kinds of meat and drinking wine. Why would the sculptors of Prambanan, who undertook the monumental task of carving the entire Ramayana, make such a strange carving? Were they trying to fling mud on Ramayana and taint Hinduism? Can you tell me the real meaning of this carving? No expert has been able to explain this so far, but there could not have been a better ending than this. This carving is deeply meaningful in so many ways. What happened when Rama gave his throne to his kids and descended into the river? It not only marks the end of Rama and Ramayana, but it also marks the end of an era called Treta Yuga. In Hinduism, there are 4 yugas or timelines in human history: Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. As we progress into a new yuga, the people get worse. The end of Rama marks the end of Treta Yuga and the beginning of Dwapara Yuga. When great people die, we say they mark the end of an era, right? For example, when Lee Kuan Yew, the Prime Minister of Singapore, died, we know he marked the end of an era for Singapore. And this is what the last carving of Ramayana shows here. Along with Rama, the era of righteousness also ends. Remember, Rama was a very righteous man and Sita was a very virtuous woman. But the time of righteous men and women ends with the demise of Rama and Sita. That era ends there. And this final carving marks the beginning of the next era, the next yuga. In the next yuga, morality degrades to a large extent. People do not hesitate to break their moral codes. In this next yuga, some priests and monks would start drinking wine and also eat meat. This is what they're showing here. Strangely enough, this is not even the era that we live in. This is the previous yuga called the Dwapara Yuga. And now we live in the final yuga called the Kali Yuga. In this final yuga, a righteous person would be so rare to find. The people without moral compass will become the majority and try to take over the world. So, this final carving shows a tragic ending, the decline of moral compass amongst humans. With the end of Rama and Ramayana, the time of virtuous thought and righteous action came to an end. The society would no longer value virtuous men as good men. The society would see the rise of immoral women, and ethical women would be ridiculed and isolated. This concludes the Prambanan Ramayana. I hope you like this video. I am PraveenMohan. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.